Everyone, welcome. I'm Kim Todd, Director of Media Relations at the Arizona Office of Tourism. Thank you for joining us today for this Arizona International Tourism Insights webinar. Please note this webinar is being recorded and will be made available later today. Today, you'll hear the latest international visitation numbers and trends, and together we'll explore visitor profiles from our key international markets, including Mexico, Canada, the UK, Germany, France, Australia, New Zealand, and Taiwan, including perspectives from our in-country representatives who we will introduce as we go through the presentation. I am now pleased to introduce Brittany Augustine, the Arizona Office of Tourism's Director of Research, who will take us through the numbers.
Good morning, everyone. We have an exciting agenda ahead of us with a lot to get through in the next hour. We'll share a variety of international insights today, including some exciting visitation, spending, strategy, and forecast data. When it comes to forecast data, I would like everyone to please note that forecast data is shared with the information we already know. We can't predict any major events or any changes in the future. With that said, we live in ever-changing times, and I encourage everyone to take that into consideration when reviewing forecast information. Okay, next slide. First up on the agenda, preliminary 2025 data and international trends. Next slide, please. Slide. All right. So this chart shows us visitation for the past 5 years. We can see by looking at the orange trend line that we have about a 1% increase since 2024, showing a consistent upward trend since 2020. While 2025 saw international tourism challenges, there was still major interest in international visitation to Arizona. Next slide. So now that we know our top visitors, let's see which international tourists like to visit. So Arizona comes in at the fifth most visited state by international visitors, beating out strong competitors like Nevada, Hawaii, and Illinois. Now for the fun part. What does our crystal ball say? This chart shows our historical and forecast visitation data. The good news, we've moved full recovery up from 2029 to 2028. That said, with economic headwinds and policy changes, 2026 could be an interesting year ahead. Next slide. All right. So now that we know visitation data, how about spending data? Take a look at international spending over the past 5 years. Well, just like visitation, spending is slightly increasing every year. This year, about 0.2% compared to 2024. As we get into our spending, let's see how Arizona compares to other states. Arizona comes in ninth, which puts us just a bit behind our visitation ranking. Now you may wonder, how can we be fifth in visitation but ninth in visitor spending? And there are likely many reasons, but higher cost in competing states, longer length of stays, and more trips that involve staying with friends and family likely contribute to this discrepancy. Now for the fun part. What does our crystal ball say? This chart shows our historical and forecast spending data. The good news is we've moved full recovery up from 2029 to 2028, which is great. All right, moving on to our international visitor profiles. Well, we'll take a look at visitation, forecasting, and hear from our reps. Next slide. All right, first up, Mexico. All right, give me 1 second here. All right, so you can see from this slide here that Mexico visitation is doing really, really good. So up about 7.3% compared to 2024. And things have been moving positively over the last 5 years. All right, and then onto our crystal ball for Mexico visitation. We see that forecast data is estimating that recovery will be in 2026. So this should be one of our best years ahead of us. All right, and moving on to our reps.
All right, thank you, Brittany. So to present some insights and travel trends for Mexico, we have Pedro Berruecos, our PR account manager with CWW Mexico. So I'll pass it on to Pedro.
Hello, everybody. Greetings from Mexico City. We are very happy to share with you some information and some insights on what the market means for Arizona when it comes to Mexico. As we saw a couple of charts ago, Mexico remains the top source market for U.S. tourism. We didn't see that on the charts, but yes, we are the top market for U.S. tourism with 17.9 million arrivals last year, which represents 6.4% growth over 2024. This means now, talking about a couple charts ago, that Arizona's growth visitation in 2025 from Mexican markets is larger than the national average with 7.3, which is great news for our state. We tend to focus on affluent and upper middle households, which are A, B, and C plus, and represent 19.3% of Mexican households, which reinforces premium travel potential. We have, for what we know, around 15.5 million Mexicans holding a U.S. Valid visa. This can change slightly because we don't have yet the numbers of visas issued last year in 2025. So this goes back to 2024. We know that experience-led and luxury demand is growing, which is driven by interest in wellness, culinary, and premium travel. Also, the U.S. remains not only a leading, but our main outbound destination, supported by leisure travel, shopping, and visit friends and relatives. Our travelers in Mexico prioritize experiences over transactions, with 38% planning multi-generational itinerary, 33% prioritizing accommodation as part of the experience, and 29% focused on culinary exploration. Value and flexibility matter, with 75% demanding for quality price value, packages, and recognized hotel brands. Digital influence, of course, shapes decisions, with 92% social media penetration, 86% online research, and 65% mobile booking. What are our challenges and strategies? Of course, we all know, this is no secret for anyone, there are changing geopolitical and policy perceptions that affect travel confidence, which calls for a strengthening messaging around ease of access, destination reliability, and positive visitor experiences. Price sensitivity and competition are increasing. We have to position Arizona through shoulder season, value, and premium experiences. We have to emphasize, of course, our strengths, which are dark skies, wellness, culinary, and luxury outdoor experiences. Our booking decisions in Mexico are increasingly digital and partner-led. We have to prioritize trade education, co-op partnerships, and digital channels, which also calls for activations for B2C. Now, if we can change to, thank you. On the side of media and public relations, of course, we have mixed feelings and perceptions in Mexico when it comes to the USA. Even if it's milder than what's been going on with other markets, we have seen like a challenge with these kinds of perceptions. And this comes also with the increase of I-94, which some of you might know, some might not. I-94 is the fee that you pay when you are entering by land, which is our largest market, the drive market. When you enter by land to the US, in this case from Sonora to Arizona, you have to pay this fee, which is called the I-94, which pass from $6 to 30 per person. And this has kind of complicated. Of course, gas prices, increase in certain national park fees, challenge the travelers' confidence. There were some comments on the possibility of increasing as well the amount of the visa for Mexicans, which also had an impact. Certainly, this hasn't gone through, so we're still paying the same, which is great news for Mexicans. Even though I've mentioned these challenges or these perceptions that could be like somehow negative, the US remains accessible, aspirational, relatively close, and easy to consume. We know pretty much what to expect when we come to the US, and we are somehow comfortable traveling to the US. So our all-time favorites are always shopping. Of course, we always say jokingly that it's some sort of national sport, entertainment, and certainly road trips. When it comes to media sentiment, we know that we have received some declining invitations from some media. They are kind of like expecting to see how everything unfolds, but somehow waiting. Still, they are always eager to receive information. We are still in a very positive attitude towards what we have, especially when it comes to Arizona, because it's been positioned like a friendly, welcoming, affordable, and different, surprising destination. So yes, it's still a place that Mexicans tend to want to travel. What do we have to do when it comes to strategic action? We need to keep the consistent messaging about Arizona, precisely as being hospitable, friendly, and surprising destination. It is amazing how for once I have traveled to Arizona many times, and I'm still amazed by the things that we still discover, and that is something that we are conveying constantly among the media, and they receive it very well. So this has been very essential, really, to maintain the constant growth and recovery after COVID. We have to maintain follow-up on the situation, such as sending and sharing what we call the media pulse, like monitoring what's going on with this perception, these things that happen along the US, and particularly in Arizona. Luckily, we've been blessed by a steady situation, which has allowed us to keep the flow of Mexicans. Of course, we need to maintain the media outreach and press trips. We need to maintain the communication with media. We need to maintain the stories, to keep providing stories, motivating and assisting them with information, with links and images focused on the positive notes. We are very happy to share, yes, that Mexican media is always eager to know and to learn more, because we cannot take anything for granted. We have Mexico is like two markets in one. We have the fly market and we have the drive market, and we need to keep pushing because they are very important for us. I think that wraps it up for Mexico. I don't know if there's anything you think I might add, but I think that pretty much sums everything.
Thank you, Pedro. And now we're going to go back to Brittany for some Canada stats.
Yes, thank you, Pedro. That's really exciting. Mexico is definitely our top international visitor, and we're excited for them to recover. All right, moving on to Canada. Let's look at our visitation trend. So Canadian visitation saw the largest decline in 2025, down 22% compared to 2024. While Canada is typically one of our top sources of visitors to the US, we're seeing decreases across most states. This drop may be tied to a mix of factors, including policy sensitivity, economic pressures, and increased competition from other travel destinations. Next slide. All right, and let's take a look at our Canadian forecast data. Based on this chart, we can see that visitation recovery is estimated to be 2029, which is an improvement from 2030. So I'll hand this over to Kim for our next rep.
I'm pleased to introduce AOT's media representative in Canada, Kirk DeSouza, who is the Senior Manager Marketing and Communications with Reach Global Marketing based in Toronto, Canada. Kirk?
Thank you so much, Kim. And hi, everyone. Good morning. So just to give you a little update on the perception as it relates to the Canadian market from a media perspective, as well as an overall perspective, the Canadian market still shows a split in attitudes towards US from a demographic and geographic point of view. Over 50 crowd likely to align with the boycott USA sentiment. The under 49 crowd can be influenced with value and compelling experiences. Politics over costs is something that was recently found out through the Ledger 360 survey that was done in the market. It means that currently the perception of the United States is still, how would I put it, stagnant. It has not improved from last year. Yeah, and perception of Arizona in particular has shifted towards being a safe haven within the US, which is great. Arizona still remains a top tier choice for the snowbird demographic and Gen Z travelers who value the state's unique geography over the national political noise. As it relates to media coverage, freelancers are prioritizing stories around unique themes, a sense of urgency, and new updates or launches. On-staff writers at media outlets are prioritizing non-US destinations, but will consider human interest stories that don't overtly promote travel. From a geographic perspective, Ontario and Alberta media are more receptive to US travel stories. British Columbia and Quebec are still not interested. As it relates to trending topics, noctourism is something that is a big conversation here in Canada that relates to dark skies. Indigenous and wellness synergy is also something that is being written about very aggressively in the Canadian market. Slow travel is a trend. It was a trend last year. It still continues to be a trend. Canadians prefer investing time in the destination that they are in. They would like to, absolutely absorb the whole destination rather than just checking it off their bucket list. Golf is and will always be a great topic for conversation in Canada amongst the media as well as consumers, and luxury travel remains unaffected across the board to travel the US and specifically Canada. The strategic actions, what we hope to do in the next couple of months is work with media on stories beyond Route 66 Centennial and America's 250, continue media touchpoints with timely pitches, press releases, one-on-one media meetings, and multi-city media missions that we've been constantly doing. Continue to strategize with journalists and media outlets to co-create press trip narratives that drive brand awareness while securing valuable editorial assignments. And I'd hand it over to the next.
Thank you, Kirk. So now to hear some updates on the trade side, we have Christina DeCopi, Marketing Coordinator for Global Marketing and Sales.
Hi, everyone. Thank you so much. We would like to start by sharing the newly announced Porter Airline flights from Canada to Phoenix, as we're looking at a second daily flight from Toronto to Phoenix, which is year-round, daily seasonal flights from Edmonton as of November 6th, daily seasonal flights from Calgary as of December 20th, and for the Vancouver service to restart as of November 6th. So that's very exciting. Outbound travel remains active. However, Canadians are increasingly value conscious and more deliberate in how they choose their destination, with this directly influencing the travel patterns to the US, including Arizona. Demand has not contracted, but it has become more selective. Travelers are prioritizing where they see clear value, strong experiences, and a clear return on spend. Arizona continues to align well with these preferences, particularly through its offering of the outdoor recreation, the wellness, the golf, and the high quality experiential travel. Importantly, currency continues to be a key trigger. When the Canadian dollar strengthens, we typically see an improved cross-border travel sentiment as it increases the purchasing power, directly enhancing the perceived value of the US destination. In this environment, the role of the travel trade remains critical. Advisors and tour operators continue to be central in converting demand, particularly where product clarity, strong packaging, and clear value messaging are in place. Trade confidence and ease of selling really is the key drivers of the performance in the current cycle. Air connectivity remains an important enabler, where core routes between Canada and Arizona supported through these major carriers, including Air Canada, WestJet, of course, and Porter, maintaining strong alignment with airline and tour operator partners continues to be essential to protecting and share and supporting the recovery. Regionally, Ontario and Quebec remain the largest source markets, while Western Canada, particularly Alberta, British Columbia, these continue to be very strategically important due to the winter travel patterns and the affinity with Arizona's outdoor lifestyle positioning. From a marketing and activation perspective, our collaboration with key airline partners like Air Canada and Porter Airline has played a very important role in maintaining the seat capacity into Phoenix. Despite the current market challenges, the seat capacity has actually only declined by 3.1% in 2025. So our strategy remains structured and consistent across both trade and consumer channels. Across B2B and B2C efforts, we're executing a coordinating campaign calendar that includes Air Canada and Atlas in February, Porter Airlines in March, Red Tag and travel brands in April, and then an AMA co-op campaign in May. The approach really ensures a continuous presence during the critical booking windows while reinforcing the value of working collaboratively with trusted partners. This is reinforced through a strong schedule of trade and consumer engagement as well, including the Rouge It Up in Vancouver with Air Canada, Travel Marketplace in Toronto, the ACTA Summit, as well as the ACV product activities in the fall, followed by major consumer-facing shows such as the Toronto Golf and Travel Show and the Outdoor Adventure Show, and culminating in the Canadian Sales Mission across Toronto and Montreal in April 2027. The trade development continues to be a core pillar of our strategy, which included 25 training seminars across 2025-2026, a product manager FAM that just happened in April 2026, and a successful trade mission in Toronto and Vancouver that brought together over 150 agents and industry partners. Overall, Arizona remains strongly aligned with the Canadian traveler priorities: the warmth, the nature, iconic landscapes, wellness, golf, culinary experiences, and easy to sell itineraries with strong emotional return on investment. In this environment, the opportunity is less aggressive growth and more about protecting loyalty, strengthen trade confidence, and converting high intent demand through consistent, well executed trade and consumer activations. Thank you.
Thank you, Kirk and Christina, for those insights. Really exciting news. Now let's take a look at things overseas. And our first stop's going to be in the UK. All right, so visitation from the UK is increasing slowly but surely, up 1.3% from 2024, showing positive increases over the past 5 years. Keeping with the UK's slow and steady pace, visitation to Arizona from the UK is not expected to recover back to 2019 numbers before 2030. I'll now hand it over to Melina.
Thank you, Brittany. I'm pleased to introduce our trade account manager for the UK market, Kim Scotland with Black Diamond, based in London. Kim, the webinar floor is all yours.
Thank you, Melina. Appreciate that. Pleasure to be here today. And while we're not quite Mexico, I am excited that we are on that sort of slow increase to recovery. Just our travel profile and considerations. The people we're looking to capture for Arizona, they're going to look like those people that are really very highly experienced, that demographic of people that are repeat travelers, they're really now, they've done the big sort of cities. They've been often. They love America. They don't need to be convinced of anything, but what they are looking for is, to discover those off the beaten path regions, the beautiful landscapes and all that Arizona has to offer. We're really in a great position, and there's excitement there for sure. This demographic really heavily favors sort of the cultural authenticity. And while that's a word we use quite often, it really is what they're hungry for. Those unique experiences they just can't get anywhere else. Bespoke local accommodations and immersive dining and cultural experiences, those are all big ticket items for us on our side. They're looking for things ultimately they can't see anywhere else, and things they can, hey, let's face it, Instagram, they can talk to their friends about. They can say that, they've done something that someone else hasn't essentially done. We've got, of course, the normal drivers, sport, music, adventure. We've all seen all the attention around the World Cup, Route 66. And there are people who simply don't want any of that. But, so won't go this year, but at the same time, they would have seen the focus all around that activity and America as a whole. So we've captured the interest there as well and had an opportunity to sort of be in the spotlight a bit. And when doing our calls and things like that, we just always have to make sure, we're selling Arizona as its own unique brand and what it brings the visitor. Our UK travelers, they're comfortable renting cars and heading off and exploring, the self-drive on their own, which is really what a majority of the itineraries look like on our side. Our job, of course, is build those out and get more time, nights in destination, of course. They're going to look at that ease of access, direct flights versus, the other cities. The easier we make it for them, of course, the more they're going to come. They, of course, right now with, global situations or whatever, they are really looking for a high safety, and basically service standards need to be really, really high. And I think, of course, we offer that. And never mind the warmth of the people that they meet in Arizona, all things to keep people coming back. Those challenges or perceived challenges, we know what they are. Of course, they've been mentioned, but cost of living still remains a concern for some, keeping inflation under control here. Airlines are experiencing a substantial expansion in their operating cost base, directly resulting in the spike in fuel pricing and, amid the political and energy market, what's going on. I mean, that said, while it's very negative at the moment, we've worked with Melina to secure some flight support for top client trip with BA and the Lime Group happening in November. So despite these challenges, we are finding sort of some really great opportunities there. So not sort of all negative or grim outlook there. We've really been working hard strategically to take advantage and sort of get in where we can. For 2026, we, of course, we're doing what we do best, as we all do, our sales calls, getting out there, being consistent, and really trying to capture on the displacement with the Middle East, what's been going on, and really positioning Arizona as that safe, stable, and welcoming option. They've had quite a lot of interest going for the US, just off recent activities. And despite other political sort of situations, Arizona and the wider US is still being very positively thought of by a lot of people. Just from Brand USA's research, they reported, very positive outlook with a lot of widespread market growth, expansion across key inbound regions. 9 of the top 10 source markets officially forecast to grow. For us, with the road trips and sort of just those feeder areas, it really gives us more potential to see some increased visitation there. So that's exciting. We really want to, we know all the trends that are popular. We've had other reps share about the shopping and things that everyone loves to do. But our opportunity right now we see in trend is people really looking at the wellness opportunity there. So Arizona, with its robust alternative wellness sort of options there, we think we really have an opportunity to capture and really grow that high value sort of segment there. So we'll continue to push on with those itineraries. And then, just quickly a snapshot, trade activities, we did a Skyscanner campaign, which saw we smashed campaign KPIs. I think we were not even 2/3 way through, and we're wrapping that up actually today. But yeah, so despite all these challenges, we are seeing real good feedback and basically conversion at the end of the day, which is what it's all about. We continue to look at strategic tour operator partnerships as well. And that's finding new partners, but also supporting those that perhaps maybe they have seen a decline or they need a little bit of hand-holding with their clients through various, concerns or sort of perception challenges, let's say. So we'll just continue on as we go. And then, like I said, I've got the Lime and British Airways top client trip coming over in November. And Melina and the team, they'll be helping to coordinate that. And we know that, this will be a really great opportunity there with some top bookers for the US that will get in market, some seeing Arizona for the first time. And then we also are looking for next year with the trade team, the media team, we tried to do sort of an integrated activations, and we'll be looking to do a mission next year. So that's exciting, something coming down the pipeline. And that's it from me.
Okay, great. Thank you, Kim. I'm now pleased to introduce AOT's media representative in the UK, Polly Simmons, who is PR Account Director with Black Diamond based in London. Polly?
Thank you, Kim. Much of what Kim Scotland said echoes on the media side as well. Perception-wise, the key consideration factors for destinations currently include safety, climate, convenience, value for money, and is it an experience-led holiday? And the sentiment is very mixed towards the US currently due to the geopolitical climate. The safety concerns have drastically reduced travel to and through the Middle East since missile attacks began, which is quite interesting because ahead of these beginning, it was very popular to see coverage on Qatar, on Dubai, and a lot of people go to the Middle East, which is a key competitor for the US in terms of mid to long haul travel. So the safety concerns over there with the war, while the US is involved in it, so that is a key consideration for people with the US looking like they're trying to take over the world. It also shifts some people to thinking, where am I going to go for my son in the shoulder seasons this year or in the winter? So some people will actually consider the US more for a holiday if they're avoiding the Middle East. So that is really interesting this year. In terms of Arizona specifically, people love the warm climate, especially away from the traditional UK and European summer season. Safety, Arizona, as far as the US is concerned, is seen as a safe destination to go to. In terms of convenience, we've got direct flights there. And value for money, at the beginning of the year, the price increase for the national parks was a bit of a talking point across media. And is it going to affect people wanting to come? But with the America the Beautiful Pass, it's very much sort of how you promote the pass. You can go into several national parks over a year. It really is a bucket list thing to do, to go to the likes of the Grand Canyon. So it definitely is worth it. In the UK, across all sort of tourism attractions, prices are going up anyway. So to have a bucket list trip like the Grand Canyon, people will pay those prices. And then experience-led holidays, there's so many experiences that Brits absolutely love that are available in Arizona. A very popular one so far this year is Route 66. We've got an individual media fan that's just gone through Arizona in the last few days, as well as an influencer as well. So that is something that Brits have always loved to do as a bucket list travel piece, and will continue to love. And there's been so much coverage so far this year for that anniversary. Coming up as well, at the 250th anniversary, there's titles like The Telegraph and Wanderlust magazines, which are top tier, and they're doing huge anniversary specials in the next few months. So it's really good to see those trusted media houses who have got a lot of authority, the BBC or the Nationals, the long-running travel titles, they're really supporting the US still, and I think they always will. Their audiences still want that coverage, so they're going to deliver it to them. The other thing is creator-led and niche media is growing fast, so that is another one to watch, which is why it's great to see some interest in influencer activity with a current group that's out there now from all markets. In terms of the trending topics, I've mentioned road trips. Another one currently is destination dupes. Don't go to this busy city, over tourism, costs a lot of money for tourist attractions. Go to this place instead. So we can really use Arizona with the angle of there's a big expanse there. You can explore, you can go in shoulder season, the climate's still great, and you won't bump into lots of people unless you go to the main tourist attractions. Nature and adventure is always popular. Authentic culture and Indigenous heritage is a growing topic. Sport travel with the FIFA World Cup coming up in particular, and then slow, meaningful and experience-led travel as well. Since the war's broken out, we have noticed a lot of focus on short haul and on the UK trips. I think that is definitely in part to do with the war, but also it's seasonal. People are looking forward to the summer holidays and when it's warmer in this part of the world. So in terms of our strategic direction for the year ahead, we've got a current media campaign with the Armchair podcast. So it'd be really nice to do a bit more with this this podcast medium. And that really is all about authentic experience-led storytelling. We'll be tying in a call to action with a trade partner as well. So there's a bookable element. And it really is just looking at the trust and making sure all those amazing experiences are there and promoted. Newsletters and targeted pitching focusing on the trending topics has done really well recently. We'll be doing a mission, including London and Dublin in March 2027 to continue the engagement with the supportive media. We'll be continuing press trips and making sure there's that experience of first-person trusted narrative there. We'll be increasing content creator and influencer activity for discovery. And we recommend both traditional and niche titles for media partnerships coming up. So those trusted sources are really there. And that's everything from the UK.
All right. Thank you, Kim and Polly, for those insights. Next up, we'll be moving to Germany. All right. German visitation has taken a hard hit in 2025, down almost 11% compared to 2024. While Germany is typically one of the top sources of visitors to the US, we're seeing decreases across most states. Just like Canada, there are a mix of factors, including economic and policy, contributing to this decrease. Next slide. Let's take a look at the forecast data for Germany. While visitation will increase slowly, recovery is not expected before 2030, possibly 2029. Now I'll hand it over to Kim.
Thanks, Brittany. I'm pleased to introduce AOT's media representative in Germany, Axel Kaus, who is managing director with Kaus Media, based in Hanover, Germany. Axel?
Thank you so much, Kim, and good morning or good evening from Germany, ladies and gentlemen. We really wanted to give you, despite of the current information that you just received about Germany, we just wanted to give you a little bit of an update, and especially the media side of things. As you have heard, Germany has always been one of the really leading outsource markets for Arizona, and we are working very hard in order to maintain our numbers and increase our numbers in the future again. You probably know that Germans are known as travel champions in the world because they have a very high spending and have a tendency to stay longer in a destination. As a matter of fact, we have a forecast that the travel expenditures will increase by 4% this year, which is very positive despite of the economic situation that the country is currently facing. At the same time, we are really working in a very highly competitive media environment because there is a lot of competition from global travel destinations. And we are competing with destinations not only in the United States, but also on a global level. The media market is very influenced by geopolitical themes, as you have heard before. And sometimes the media just selects different other destinations because of political tensions. And this is something that we have seen in the past year or so, and which created some headwinds for our promotion of the state in the German-speaking countries. The US has traditionally been very attractive for media coverage in the German market, but as I mentioned, competition is pretty high from other travel destinations. So when it comes to media coverage, and we have seen very strong numbers media coverage about Route 66, which is currently dominating the media market in for Arizona. But then the media is certainly looking for this fresh and innovative themes that truly go beyond traditional destination features. Storytelling is very important, and there is an increasingly interest in exclusive experiences that are really of high quality and are visually very strong in our markets. Trending topics, and some of them are topics that we have seen in the past few years. Some of them are newer, but desert luxury, and wellness themes are currently of high interest for the media. Dark skies and stargazing in the state is certainly something that the media is very interested in. And then, as you have heard from our friends before, slow travel and scenic road trips, also soft adventure activities are also of high interest. And then a traditional theme is authentic indigenous experiences, but also cultural experiences in the state. So in terms of strategic actions in the German-speaking countries, we clearly need to move beyond the Route 66 story, which has been very successful in the German-speaking countries, but more into a multidimensional destination storytelling. That's what we are currently working on. And then the media is always interested in innovative, but also media-ready story angles. So we traditionally develop story ideas and then approach the media and our target media professionals with media-ready story angles, which is working very well. They are interested in authentic and emotional storytelling, so we are developing those story ideas for them as well. And then, as in the past, what really delivers, especially bigger feature articles, are press trips for target media professionals and top-tier media professionals. But then also, we are seeing an increased interest in content and influencer activities, not only for the state, but also a growing appetite for content delivered by top-tier influencers in our markets. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Axel. And unfortunately, our rep from Trade Germany was not able to join us, so I'm going to go ahead and go over some of the trade insights and market insights for Germany. German travel demand to the US remains strong, supported by stable budgets and a favorable exchange rate, making travel more affordable. While geopolitical uncertainty is influencing decisions, travelers are not canceling the trips, rather postponing and are prioritizing safe, reliable destinations like the US. Travel behavior is evolving with continued interest in core experiences like nature, culture, and sightseeing, along growing demand for authentic, experience-driven travel and exploration beyond the major gateways. Value, flexibility, and off-season travel are increasingly important, especially among flexible segments. And at the same time, challenges around perception, rising cost, and sustainability are shaping strategy. Clear communication around entry processes, promoting shoulder season value, and highlighting responsible travel initiatives will be key to positioning Arizona as an attractive, accessible, and conscious long-haul destination. And some of the strategic actions that we'll be putting in place for FY27 are a trade sales mission that we will be conducting at the end of the year in December of 2026. We'll be visiting cities like Hamburg, Hanover, Berlin, and Frankfurt. So if you have any questions regarding that sales mission, you can reach out directly to me. And with that, I'll pass it back to Brittany.
Thank you, Axel and Joanna, for those insights. Let's move on to France. All right, visitation from French visitors is down 6.5% compared to 2024. Even with a popular direct flight to Paris, French visitation dipped 6.5% after several years of strong growth, which most likely looks like it's just a leveling off after a big surge from the long-term decline. Next slide. Let's take a look at forecast data for France. While visitation will continue to increase, recovery is not expected before 2030, possibly 2029. And now I'll hand it over to Kim just to clarify that's compared to 2019.
Thank you, Brittany. I'm now pleased to introduce AOT's media representative in France, Laura Granieri, who is PR account manager with B World Communication, based in Paris, France, and she will share with us travel, trade, and media insights. Laura?
Hello, everyone. So on the trade side, it's a bit of a situation of a wait and see. On one side, some tour operators are seeing good bookings in good booking advance, and some others are sort of waiting to see what is happening. Some of them are expecting people to book their trip last minute. That's also a trend which has been seen in the past weeks and past month. That said, France is made of repeat travelers to the US. Almost 3/4 of the French visitors to the US are repeaters. And the others, some people are reluctant because of the situation of the ESTA requirements, and some people might feel not welcomed to the US. So some of them have put on hold their project of traveling to the US. However, we're seeing in the numbers that the US still are in the top 10 best-selling long-haul destinations overall. So hopefully, globally, the slight decrease this year will go up again, especially thanks to the Air France non-stop flight from Paris to Phoenix. What the French visitors look for is authenticity, and they are very drawn into the Western and the American Indian heritage, and as well as immersive experiences. They like to experience, oops. Hello?
You're still on. We're working on getting the slides back up. Please continue.
Okay. No, like I was saying, the French people look for a lot of experiences. And like the UK said, actually, the conflict in the Middle East might be an opportunity for people who were planning not only to travel to the Middle East, but also to Asia, to Thailand, or even Australia further. They might think again and choose the United States instead of that part of the world if they have to transit via Doha or Abu Dhabi or Dubai. And also, Arizona has a lot of what the French travelers look for, whether it's nature, culture. There are a lot of angles that French travelers are keen about. And like I was saying, Air France is servicing Phoenix again 5 times a week, where it was 3 times during the winter. And in June, there will be a small period of time where they will have daily flights. And on the media side, no chance that we could get the slide.
Still working on it. Apologies.
Okay. Okay, I can't pull it off on my side, but so on the media side, there are several things. First thing, there is a major crisis in the print press. That's something we have to say. It's a fact. It's economical. But the thing is, titles, publications are still there. They're not canceling the publications. They're only downsizing the number of journalists who are working in these medias. So the travel sections in these different medias are still popular, which is a good thing. And also there are new publications that have come out in the past year and months, like Esquire, like our Harper's Bazaar France, even Time magazine, and a new travel magazine called Wonders of the World. So it remains a dynamic media scene. And also digital is really booming. There are a lot of online media that have a very large audience compared to the population in France, of course. And it's also something where medias were working with to get coverage on those online medias as well. Also, we have the opportunity this year with the Michelin Guide on the Southwest, which should be coming out before the end of the year. So that will give us a good opportunity to promote Arizona through its culinary scene, especially Tucson as a UNESCO gastronomy creative city. And also, it's hard without the slide. What else? The topics that media look for. Like I said before, same as the French travelers. They love the cowboy stories. They love the American Indian heritage and culture and traditions, and also the great landscapes. And they see Arizona as a safe and secure destination, which is a great appealing point. And
Slide 43.
Yes, thank you. On the journalist, for the journalists, a few publication will not publish stories on the US right now, but most of them still continue. We still get great coverage, so that's a good thing for us. And what the journalists like when they go on press trips is really a custom-made itinerary. And I know it's a bit of a challenge because when we work with all the partners, of course, it's a full itinerary with all the meals, all the tours, all the activities. And sometimes it's a bit hard for the journalist to actually put everything in one same article because of space and because of the angle of the article. Sometimes a specific angle. And so it's hard to get all the restaurants, all they did. But we work on that with AOT, which is fine. And as far as strategic action, so we'll continue, of course, to send some press release newsletters. What we would suggest is two different things. Is one, let's say, a press release on Arizona on a budget, like affordable Arizona, and another one, on the contrary, on Arizona seen as a luxury travel with luxury products, because there's a lot all over the state to put forward. We'll have the mission in Paris in March 2027, and we'll continue to send over journalists either on group or individual press trips, and as well as influencer as well. And that's it on the media side. Thank you.
Thank you, Laura, for those insights, and we appreciate you improvising as we had that technical difficulty. We are starting to get close to that 10 o'clock hour, and I just want to let everyone know that this presentation will be recorded. We will be posting this to the website and to our newsletter if you have to disconnect from this call. But we're going to be moving it right along. We've got a few more slides to go here. So moving on to Australia. All right, so in Australia, we saw a 5% decrease in visitation in 2025. And kind of like with others, with economic and policy factors, and we also have to consider those long flight times, this market might take a little while to recover. So moving on to our forecast data. So visitation is not expected to recover before 2030, but will continue to rise over the years. Sending it over to you, Melina.
Thank you, Brittany. All right. Well, good morning, everyone, or afternoon, depending on where you are in the world. But considering it is almost 3 a.m. in Australia right now, we did not ask our reps from Linked Down Under to join us, but I will be covering the Australia and New Zealand markets for trade from down under our state in my hometown of Yuma. So I know we're in a time crunch, so I will do my best to kind of be quick. But starting with consumer sentiment and trade feedback overall, confidence is strengthening, particularly with the increase in U.S. airlift with direct flights to Las Vegas and New York with Qantas and San Francisco with United Airlines. While we're seeing a short-term dip for the forecast of 1.15 million for 2026, this decline of about 6.5% to U.S. travel overall is largely driven by some of the same, external factors from other destinations, having to do with geopolitical uncertainty and also a weaker Australian dollar currently. So, however, the underlying demand remains very strong, with 79% of repeat travelers to the US and over 90% of visitors are indicating that they plan to return to the US, which gives us a good solid foundation to build from. From a trade perspective, the environment is very positive. Traditional brick and mortar agencies are reporting record sales and still account for about 70% of all consumer bookings, which reinforces the importance of our trade relationships. We're also seeing strong momentum from major upcoming US events. At the same time, the trade landscape is evolving with significant growth in home-based agents and broker networks. This has led to the formation of new groups like the Independent Travel Agents Association. For FY27, kind of our trade strategy, we're remaining focused on deepening our trade engagement. We'll be hosting a trade fam later this fall in October, November. For key product managers and top performing agents, we'll also be participating in major industry events and continuing education through webinars with wholesale and OTA partners, supported by our consistent bi-monthly trade e-newsletter. From a marketing perspective, we'll continue having a presence in both B2C and B2B campaigns. On the consumer side, our marketing team is invested in high impact campaigns across premium platforms like Delicious, news.com.au, and Travel and Luxury. On the trade side, we're expanding co-op partnerships with key wholesalers such as Adventure World, supported by targeted trade campaigns. Across all of our activities, we're really focused on authentic, experience-led itineraries, and we'll continue to highlight some of the premium experiences throughout our state, really covering like the luxury, wellness, and culinary experiences. And I'll hand it off to Kim.
Okay, thanks, Melina. So on the media side, in terms of topics that are trending, sports tourism tends to be trending right now, both major events and group trips with themes such as golf vacations. Outdoor nature continues to trend with the Australian, New Zealand markets, as well as luxury and wellness. In terms of perception, 2026 did see travel slow down from Australia and New Zealand, and this is really due to cost of living, as well as global events. While the Australian dollar has strengthened against the US, people are tending to travel closer to home. And there's the perception out there that the US may not be as safe as it used to be and that border entry may be difficult. In terms of media coverage, we do continue to see Australia and New Zealand media running US stories. Journalists that have been to the US before are less likely to be influenced by market sentiment. The one challenge we are seeing is female journalists are currently a bit more reluctant to participate in media fams than in the past due to safety concerns. Strategically, it's really about communication. The team continues to have conversations with journalists who have been here to the US about their own, positive experiences and encouraging them to share those with others. And then just to communicate clearly what is actually happening in terms of visas, social media, et cetera, to clarify any misinformation. And now I'll turn it back over to Brittany.
All right. Thank you, Melanie and Kim, for those insights. Let's move right along to Taiwan. All right, so in 2025, visitation was up 7.2% compared to 2024. And over the past 5 years, Taiwanese visitation has grown over 560%, showing strong momentum from a fast emerging market that's expected to continue to grow in the years to come. Taiwanese visitation is expected to continue to grow over the next 4 years and is expected to become a major contender in the international visitation to Arizona. And in this case, there is no recovery, it's just continued growth. So sending it over to you, Joanna.
Thank you, Brittany. So now we have to present some insights for this market. Our international rep, Milan Sai with Avia Reps, based in Taipei, Taiwan.
Good morning, everyone. This is Milan from Taiwan office. I'm very happy to share the Taiwan market updates with you all. For the trade part, for Taiwan outbound travel, there is over 4,000 registered travel agencies island-wide in Taiwan. Travel agency license is mandatory for handling travel business, both inbound and outbound. Taiwan travel outbound departure reached a record high of almost 19 million people in 2025, an increase of 12.4% compared to 2024, surpassing the pre-pandemic peak of 17.1 million in 2019. Taiwan maintains one of the highest passport ownership rates in the world. So it's approximately 60% of the people, over 40 million people in Taiwan has a passport. Taiwan's rate is higher than Japan, Korea, and just only behind the major travel hubs like Singapore. On average, Taiwanese citizens travel abroad 2.45 times per year, indicating that international travel has become a routine consumer habit for Taiwanese. The United States is and was the only non-Asian country in the top 10 destination from Taiwan in 2025. So the US is the top 7 for the outbound destinations for Taiwanese. Both Starlux Airlines and China Airlines operate direct flights from Taipei to Phoenix, making Taiwan the very first Asia hub for Sky Harbor International Airport. In March, Taipei to Phoenix flights record an average load factor of 95.5%, carrying over 9,000 passengers from Taiwan to the Arizona. For Taiwan outbound travel trends, national parks, gourmet and wine tour, sports tourism, including baseball, basketball, MLB, NBA, golf tours, are big for the Taiwanese travelers. Staycation, wellness retreats are also very popular for Taiwanese travelers. And this year, America 250, Route 66, and also the technology tourism are very welcome from Taiwan to the Arizona. For the actions in Taiwan, highlighting top must-visit attractions for the first-time visitors, as well as the in-depth hidden gems for the repeat guests. And we will work closely with airline partners to stimulate the interest of potential Taiwanese travelers to the states of the Arizona. And next slide, please. Yes. For the media part, I'd like to share with you the perception. And so US remains top long-haul destination and is considered as the rather safe destination for Taiwanese travelers. As a matter of fact, the Taiwan-US relations has never been better than now. Arizona, particularly for the Grand Canyon, is once in a lifetime experience, while Antelope Canyon and the Horseshoe Bend are the most popular attractions for Taiwanese visitors. Media partners are interested in stories, information, updates from the Route 66 towns. The media landscape in Taiwan, World Press Freedom Index published by Reporters Without Borders, Taiwan was ranked 24 globally and the first in East Asia in 2025. Line and Facebook Messenger remain the top messaging apps in Taiwan, with Line transforming itself into a comprehensive super app, includes for payments, Line Pay, news, Line Today, and e-commerce. The top 3 social media platforms are Facebook, Instagram, and Threads. For the media coverage regenerate, media partners are highly interested in Arizona tourism updates. As of May, there is over 59 Arizona tourism articles generated with over 278,200 media value since AOT Taiwan was established in November 2025. Trending topics are outdoor and nature, culture and history, museums and galleries, well-being tourism, unique hidden gem attractions, and they are also very interested in lifestyle in the Arizona. For actions in Taiwan, to leverage Arizona as state of Grand Canyon and to address the tourism resource behind the Grand Canyon. And we will work closely with the travel writers to create Arizona articles on blogs. Moreover, to publishing the first Arizona travel book in the Mandarin Chinese language.
Thank you, Milan, for those insights for the Taiwanese market. That concludes our webinar for today. We do have some announcements. For the next International Data Update, we will see you at the Governor's Conference on Tourism on August 12th through the 14th. These country profiles can be found at our B2B website, the tourism.az.gov. And also our trade and media calendar of events can be found on our tourism.az.gov website. We are constantly updating those with confirming dates for sales missions and other trade shows or events that we're going to be attending. So I do recommend for you to take a look at that calendar as we are updating our events for FY27. I know we're a little bit over time, so if anyone has any questions at all, if you want to type them into the chat, and we'll try to get to a couple of questions in the next few minutes. And as Brittany mentioned, this has been recorded, so we will be sharing this presentation in the next few days in our newsletter. Just going to give it a minute to see if there's any questions. All right, it doesn't look like we have any questions here. So thank you, everybody. Thank you for our international reps for joining us today. And hopefully this was helpful for you. And if there are any questions, you can always reach out